Most military helicopters are designed to transport troops, deliver supplies, or evacuate the wounded. The AH-64 Apache was designed to do something very different. It was built to destroy tanks, specifically Soviet tanks, thousands of them rolling across the plains of Europe in a scenario that Cold War planners lost sleep over for decades. And it turns out, when you engineer a helicopter around the single idea of killing armored vehicles in the worst conditions imaginable, you end up with something genuinely terrifying. 4 decades later, the Apache remains the most lethal rotary-wing aircraft on the planet. Over 2,400 built, nearly 20 countries operating them. A combat record that reads like a highlight reel of modern warfare. But what actually makes this helicopter so dangerous? Let's get into it. The story starts in the early 1970s. The United States Army had been using the AH-1 Cobra, which was a solid helicopter for Vietnam, but it wasn't built to survive the kind of war NATO expected in Europe. The Soviets had thousands of tanks. The army needed something that could fly low, hit hard, survive ground fire, and do it all at night or in terrible weather. Hughes Helicopters won the contract, and the first prototype flew on September 30th, 1975. After years of testing, redesigns, and engine upgrades, the AH-64 Apache officially entered service in April 1986, named after the Apache tribe, following the Army's tradition of naming helicopters after Native American nations. Now, let's talk about what sits under the cowling. The Apache is powered by 2 General Electric T700 turboshaft engines. On the latest E-model, each engine produces around 1,890 shaft horsepower, giving a combined output of roughly 3,780 shaft horsepower. That's an enormous amount of power for a helicopter that weighs about 23,000 pounds fully loaded. Top speed sits around 182 miles per hour. Cruise speed is about 165 miles per hour. Vertical climb rate on a standard day reaches 1,775 feet per minute, and the service ceiling tops out at 21,000 feet. Those numbers don't sound dramatic compared to a fighter jet, but here's the thing: the Apache doesn't need to be fast. It needs to fly low, hide behind terrain, pop up, fire, and disappear before the enemy even knows what happened. And at that job, nothing else comes close. Now, let's get to the part that earned the Apache its reputation: the weapons. Mounted underneath the forward fuselage sits the M230 chain gun, 30 millimeters of high-explosive dual-purpose ammunition, cycling at roughly 625 rounds per minute. The Apache carries up to 1,200 rounds for this gun. That's enough firepower to shred light vehicles, infantry positions, and soft targets with terrifying efficiency. But the chain gun isn't even the main weapon. That distinction belongs to the AGM-114 Hellfire missile. The Apache can carry up to 16 of them on its stub-wing pylons. Each Hellfire is a laser-guided, fire-and-forget anti-tank missile capable of destroying a main battle tank from several kilometers away. During Desert Storm, these missiles became the Apache's signature, but we'll get to that. On top of the Hellfires, the Apache carries Hydra 70 unguided rockets, and it can even mount Stinger air-to-air missiles. That last part matters because it means the Apache can defend itself against other helicopters. Not many attack helicopters can claim that. And here's what ties all of this together: the helmet-mounted display system. When an Apache pilot turns their head, the chain gun follows. Wherever the pilot looks, that's where the gun points. It was revolutionary when it was introduced, and it remains one of the most intimidating features of the platform. Imagine being on the ground and knowing that the pilot doesn't even need to aim the aircraft at you. They just need to look at you. But firepower means nothing if the helicopter gets shot down before it can use it. And this is where the Apache's engineering becomes genuinely impressive. The airframe carries roughly 2,500 pounds of armor protection. The cockpit is lined with boron carbide and Kevlar panels, designed to withstand direct hits from rounds up to 23 millimeters. The rotor blades are built to take hits and keep spinning. The fuel system is self-sealing, meaning a bullet can punch through the tank and the hole closes behind it. Between the pilot and the gunner sits a transparent blast shield, designed so that if one crew position takes a catastrophic hit, the other crew member can still fly the helicopter home. The landing gear is designed to absorb crash impacts. The transmission can run for 30 minutes after losing oil pressure. Redundant hydraulic and electrical systems mean that a single hit rarely disables the entire aircraft. The Apache was designed with the assumption that it would get shot. The engineering question wasn't, how do we avoid taking fire? It was, how do we keep flying after we do? And that philosophy proved itself in combat. January 17th, 1991. The opening hours of Operation Desert Storm. Before any coalition fighter jet dropped a single bomb, 8 Apache helicopters flew deep into Iraqi territory in total darkness. Their mission was to destroy 2 early warning radar stations that formed a critical gap in Iraq's air defense network. Using Hellfire missiles and rockets, the Apaches wiped both stations off the map in under 5 minutes. That gap allowed hundreds of coalition aircraft to pour into Iraqi airspace undetected. The war's very first shots were fired by Apaches. During the 100-hour ground war that followed, 277 Apaches participated in combat operations. They destroyed 278 tanks, along with hundreds of armored personnel carriers and other vehicles. Over 500 confirmed kills total. Only 1 Apache was lost to enemy action during the entire Gulf War, brought down by a rocket-propelled grenade. Both crew members survived. But the Apache's record isn't spotless. In March 2003, during the invasion of Iraq, 31 Apaches from the 11th Aviation Regiment flew a deep attack mission against the Republican Guard's Medina Division near Karbala. The Iraqis had learned from the no-fly zone years. They set up a coordinated ambush using small arms fire, machine guns, and anti-aircraft weapons. Every single Apache took damage. 1 was shot down intact, and its crew was captured. The rest limped home so badly damaged that many were grounded for weeks. It was considered Iraq's only real battlefield victory in that entire war. That incident didn't prove the Apache was weak. It proved that even the most dangerous helicopter ever built has limits when you fly it into a prepared kill zone without proper suppression support. Today, the latest variant is the AH-64E Guardian. It carries upgraded T700-701D engines with improved power and fuel efficiency. It has the ability to control unmanned drones in flight, extending the crew's surveillance and strike capabilities far beyond what the helicopter itself can see. It carries Link 16 data sharing capability, turning it into a networked node on the modern battlefield. The United States Army plans to keep the Apache in service until at least 2048. That would give it well over 60 years of operational life. Over 2,400 have been built. Countries from Israel to India, from the United Kingdom to Saudi Arabia, all operate some version of the Apache. And that might be the most telling statistic of all. When nearly 20 countries look at every attack helicopter available on the global market and consistently choose the same one, that tells you something about what this machine really is. If you found this breakdown interesting, hit subscribe. I cover the world's most extreme military machines every week. And if you want to see what happens when an Apache goes head-to-head against its closest rival, that video is on screen now.